Just fucking do it. Subscribe now.
You mentioned that politics wouldn't be the last thing that you'd do. So do you have any idea what you would go into after that?
The politics here is fucked. And I fully expect to win in a landslide here. But I can continue to, the great thing, not the great thing, but one of the attributes of British politics is because they get paid so fucking little, you're allowed to have another job. So my other job will give seminars once in a while, okay? I just keep my finger on the pulse. And once I become a minister, I will probably have to take a party affiliation from independents. I'm much closer, I relate much closer to the Conservative Party, but not 100%. Although I've already been offered by one of the other major parties sponsorship. I'm going to be political in my 80s. I realize it'll be difficult to become minister and prime minister in my 80s, but I've had bigger challenges. But the political system here in the UK is fucked. The US system is fucked in another way, but the political system here is fucked. The UK has been good to me 40 years. I've made unholy amount of money here. But only a few people make an unholy amount of money here because of the systems skewed. And I did it without going to the Oxford, Cambridge, the schools. Because I was in the book, Winning Through Intimidation, I was an expert that came 200-300 miles with a briefcase. That opportunity should be open to everybody. Even though I know our immigration policy here in the UK is fucked. So one of my planks is to make an immigration policy that works for both sides. Now that's a hard thing. That's like segregation in the 60s in America. But nobody's working on it. And somebody's got to step into the breach and risk being humiliated. People are going to say, I'm a carpetbagger. I only came here recently. I made $1 jillion, which is all true. But I waited 26 fucking years to be a UK citizen. And when I was sworn in, the 6 people that were sworn in with me, 2 couldn't speak fucking English. You're supposed to take a goddamn test here that you speak English. So the system is cockeyed. And the people that get in and that immigrate from France to here across the water, they're just happy to be here so they're not making waves. I've been here 40 years and I've produced a lot of revenue here individually, and I've produced, against slavery. Nobody can compare it to my numbers. And so somebody's got to stand up. So I want to make a difference that way. I don't need any more money. Sally, I'm leaving her with 50, 100 times more money she can spend in 50 lifetimes. I'm not concerned about that. And what sounds bargadoocious, but it's not. So I don't have to be beholden to the normal political system. I don't need anybody's money. And because when you take money, you're beholding either directly or indirectly who sponsored you. Even though I enjoy the potential sponsorship, I'm not going to take any money. I'm just not. So I can almost come to the Westminster, not 100% clean, but almost 100% clean, where I'm not beholden to anybody. I happen to be a royalist. I believe in the monarch. So that separates me from some people. And that's why I was really touched when the Queen passed away. But I know I can do a lot here. If I had started 20, 30 years ago in the United States as Governor Connolly and Governor Hugh Carey and a bunch of Chuck Manatt, no relation to you, who was head of the National Democratic Party, tried to encourage me to run for office as a Hispanic, blue-eyed Hispanic. A great deal of the voting population in the United States has turned Hispanic. But I did not, that wasn't that didn't turn me on. It didn't rock my boat in those days. So I had an opportunity in 81, 83, 88, 90. But I didn't run. But now, as an old man, I don't feel an old man, and I certainly don't relate to being an old man because I'm pretty fit. I'm going to do it here, and there's no doubt I'm going to win. There's zero fucking doubt I'm going to win. And I'm going to shake up shit. I'm going to shake up shit. I'm not here to make friends. If you want a friend, buy a fucking dog. I'm here to kick ass and take names. And that will enhance, getting back to your question, I know I can do this. I know what I've done with meatheads like you. How do you take also-rans, and I'm trying to be respectful, kind of. How do I take also-rans like you and create hundreds of millions and billions of pounds? Billions of, I'm best on the planet until I find somebody else, and getting you to do what you don't want to do to achieve the goals that you want. Whether it's shame, a beating, or whatever, I know how to get you to do it. And I've showed you 10, 12, 14 people, and you were blessed to see TK, okay, who came here on his own fucking nickel, who's created, $348 million in 11 and a half months, which is phenomenal by any fucking standard. And I hope that rubs off, on everybody in this seminar. And he's on the humble side, as opposed to, you heard Thomas, who's on the he's the psycho side, but TK is no less focused than Thomas. And it's all about who gets focused first and stays focused longest wins. And I've been doing this long enough to know it's quite remarkable. And whether the two older citizens that are here in the seminar or the two or three youngest that are 21, 22, I know categorically that it's possible. To the question.
So, when you made the money, what were some of the most exciting things you could experience?
Well, the first time I met the Queen, the first time, I've met 5 presidents, and I met 4 of them before when I was broke. Being able to use money and change lives. Being able to, more recently in the last 4 or 5 years, create a nunnery in Sri Lanka, which is a Muslim country. Being able to support St. Teresa's orphanages around the world. I mean, you have to be a pretty callous fucker to not make that feel, to not allow that to make you feel good. And so I enjoy using Sally's and my money, and I'm blessed that Sally agrees with me on this shit. Because if you got a partner that doesn't agree, spewing out a lot of money for this kind of stuff, you got a fucking problem. I'm blessed that Sally believes in it. And even though I'm more articulate and I'll cry about it, to see, we had a kid, what's wrong? Okay. We had a kid about 15 years ago at a St. Teresa, now Mother Teresa orphanage. And the orphanage there, they come and they cut the umbilical cord and they put the kids in a tray, and then the nuns pull the tray in and take care of the kid. Okay. They've had a kid, it was 26 years they had the kid. And the kid had whatever it's called, when the brain blows up, and his head was about this big. And his body was like a 3 or 4 year old. He's 26 years old. He was only supposed to live 4 or 5 months. I couldn't go in to see him. I mean, I broke down crying. I couldn't see him anymore. And the nuns say it's a blessing that God allows us to take care of him. Fuck. Anyway, I just checked about a year ago. That kid, and this is 10 years later, the kid's head's this big, his body's this big. His body is grown, and he's talking and doing 2nd, 3rd grade shit now. He's 35 years old. Fuck. I believe in miracles now. I've never seen one, but that's the closest. He's still got a big fucking head. But I mean, I couldn't walk in there. Sally could walk in and kiss his head, but I couldn't. After the fourth or fifth time, I can't do this. I consider myself a hard guy. But now when we go back, I'm going to go back and see that kid. And they said they should let him die, and the nuns, but it's God's will. But I'm making fun of it now. Not making fun of it. I'm not making light of it. But the kid's 35 years old now, and he's alive. It's like the Asperger kid I have, 2,000 calls in a day. He didn't realize. See, you won't make 5 calls. I can pick in this fucking room who's not going to make any calls. I know. 5 calls a day, that's all it takes. We used to give out pledges. When you sign a pledge, those are worthless like toilet paper. The only one that met the pledge over the 15 years that we did it was Marcus Bauer. Only one. All the bullshit, all the bravado, from the Czechs, from the Germans, it's all horseshit. When it's convenient to you, and it will be a lot less convenient when you get out there. When your 5-year-old or 6-year-old has her first communion, there's not a man, woman in this room that will miss that first communion. Not a man, woman. I've never had a man, woman in this room that will miss that first communion. Notwithstanding, the little shithead will never remember it. Because of fucking guilt. 4 or 5 of you in this room have big fucking mouths. We'll see what you do. Don't contact me until you have a deal. And you continue to call me Mr. Peña until you have a deal. Marcus Bauer, I do still call me Mr. Peña, out of respect. Talks cheap, kids. Other question. Well, that's shut everything.
What makes you scared?
Nothing. I'm not scared of anything. And I mean nothing. I have no fear. After the buffalo ran over me, a little sidebar. There was you saw Crocodile Dundee, maybe the movie. And then Crocodile Dundee, 1, 2, 3. Well, there was a real Crocodile Dundee. His name was Barry Lees. And he was in Australia. And so I went down there and I went into a big game hunting. This was 1990, 1991. And I said that I want a big, and he's hanging in the fucking main hall here. I want a big fucking bull that I want to take on head on, with I used to hunt with a 4.54 Council, which was the biggest handgun known at that time. He said, okay. And so we left Darwin, and we're about 1.5 days march into the bush, and he's whispering. Why the fuck are we whispering? We're in Abo land. What the fuck does that mean? We're in restricted Aboriginal land. We shouldn't be hunting. What? I pay you all this fucking money. I said, but the big game all migrate to Abo land because they know they're not going to get killed. So I'm already there, so I'm illegal. So he says, well, there's a place where this big, huge fucking bull, water buffalo, hangs out. And it's a big pond, and he's scratching his back on the roots in the big pond. And there's a big log across the big pond. And he said, well, throw rocks on him, and he'll turn around, and he'll jump out, and he'll charge you from about where you guys are sitting, and you'll be able to take him head on. Man plans, the guy laughs. We throw the rocks, blah, blah, blah. And he jumped over that fucking log like it wasn't there. Contrary to what Barry Lees, the fucking moron, told me. So now he's from here to me. From here. And so as I fired off the gun, as he's running over me, I hit him in the chin. It went through his nose, but he missed his brain. It was like a fucking truck hit me. So then he goes on, and so I will shake it off kind of 60, 80 seconds. And so I chased him into the jungle. So I've shot 1 bullet. Okay. So I'm chasing him in the jungle. I'm limping. part of the reason I have an artificial hip, and because he fucked me up pretty good. So I'm chasing him, and he turns around and looks at me a couple times. Now, I didn't know when I'm firing I was hitting him, because it didn't look like I was hitting him. He wasn't changing. Then we go about half a kilometer, 3/4 of a kilometer, and he turns around, obviously saying, oh, this is bullshit. So he turns around just like in the movies, and he grabs his paws or hoofs, and he charges from about where you guys are. So I take aim with my 4.55 console. I'm gonna hit him right in the fucking head. And Barry Lee's is screaming at me. I couldn't hear it. My adrenaline was just, I was a psychopath. What I didn't hear him saying, you're out of fucking bullets! Because a 4.55 console only carries 5 bullets. And everything I've ever fired, minimum 6. So as he's running from where you guys are to about right there where this metal thing is, boom! Except one click. Empty. And he fell dead though, because of the other bullets I put in him. So my dick shrivels up in my chest because I realized I dodged a bullet there. And but I've done, nothing scares me. Nothing. I'm not afraid of anything. Physical, mental, spiritual. Years ago, about 12 years ago, I had lined up to do an exorcism. And the leading exorcism priest in the world, Father Mateo, is in the Philippines. And he had done, 5, 10, 25,000 exorcisms. And I went out to this seminary in one of the provinces. And Father Mateo said, I want you to talk to some of the exorcism priests before, we're going to do it. And only because I donated a lot of money, they would even entertain allowing me to do this. So I spent the afternoon with 3 priests, young guys like you, that all look 70 years old. Their eyes sunken back in their head, all their hair turned gray, and they all begged me not to do it. Mr. Peña, whether your intentions are good or bad, you have no idea what the ramifications in the aftermath. I wanted to go mano a mano with the devil. I mean, I wanted to jump on his fucking ass and choke him. And because in an exorcism, although there's 2 or 3 spiritual guys, Catholic, there's a lay person that says, bless me, Father, if I have sinned, and he's reading the Bible. He doesn't have to be a priest. And it didn't happen. And Father Mateo got called back to Rome for some deal, and he died. And so I was ready. I would jump on that fucking devil and fucking bite his nose off. Now you guys wouldn't have gone in the fucking room. These 3 priests, your age, look 80 years old. That's for real, Mr. Peña. They do levitate and spin around the room. Bring them on. Not all, because, I was a shit-ass athlete. You can't even call me an athlete. And my dad was an All-American. So I was always trying to press the envelope of the stuff my dad didn't do, who fought in 2 wars. I'm still trying to do it. At 77, I'm taking to boxing. A year in boxing, I'll take you 1 at a time, 5 at a time. I promise you. We'll see how fucking tough you are. I already know you're not tough. 5 at a time. A bum every 10 minutes. Because I have confidence in myself. I'll be 78 then. We'll see how fucking tough you are. I already know you're not tough. I'll knock every fucking one of you out. I'll hurt you. I'll damage you permanently. That's how I think. So getting back to your question, what scares me? Nothing. I'd snap your neck like a motherfucking pencil.